Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and welcome to another comic book haul and another one from my local comic book store here in Northampton, Close Encounters. This weekend just gone, I decided to pop in there on a Saturday afternoon and plunder their back issue bins and found some comics, obviously, and filled in some gaps, picked up some new titles of old that I thought would look interesting and hopefully are going to be a good read. I've done it in two parts. The first part here is going to be just like odds and ends, and then the second part will be runs that I am trying to complete and filling in gaps. So I'm going to begin with the oddments. When I say oddments, just one issue or two of a certain title. JLA Classified, we're beginning with Peter Milligan writing this storyline here, Forging a Better Amazo. This fills in a gap. I only got as far as probably about issue 12 or 13 of this series before I stopped getting it. Can't quite remember why, because we're going back some years. This alone is like 2007, so we're a decade away. But I did enjoy it because it has like the main JLA characters that you know: Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, The Flash, all the big names that made up the Justice League of America. So I'm looking out for all those now. Not quite sure why I bought this. I think I thought it was something else, but it's issue 1, annual number 1 of The Outsiders, by Mike W. Barr and Kevin Nolan. So great Kevin Nolan cover there. Mike Barr did a lot of The Punisher in the late 80s, if I remember rightly. So that's going to be somewhat of an interesting read. Vertigo number 1. I love picking up a Vertigo title that I've not seen before, and this certainly piqued my interest because it's Ed Brubaker writing it. Don't know anything about it. Dead Enders. No past, no future. I picked up issue 1 of this not so long ago from a comic book store. It is a 4-issue mini-series, so I have the first part and I have the last part. But I enjoyed the first part, so I'll try and find the other 2 to finish this run off. Same with this series. I picked up issue 1 and 2 not so long ago, and this is the last part. Martial law, kind of post-apocalyptic, S&M, over-sexualized, dark look at kind of superheroes, very adult in its kind of makeup and concept, but I remember reading this in an English anthology weekly comic book series. I can't remember which one because there were so many of them at the time. I think it was called Toxic. I'll go with Toxic, but this is the American-sized version of it. Always like to pick up anything that's Tom Strong influenced, and this is issue 10 of Tom Strong's Terrific Tales. This one, again, it's kind of like an anthology series. You've got a Johnny Future storyline, a young Tom Strong storyline, and a regular Tom Strong storyline. So I do enjoy those. Alan Moore keeping his hand in on the America's Best Comics line. Rest of these, if I remember right, are Marvel, Moon Knight, the 80s series, chipping away at that, just the one issue of those, but great looking cover there from Moon Knight. A few Marvel fanfares. I'm not particularly trying to complete this series, but when I do find them and when they're like cheap, I will pick them up. But as you will see from the next few, I kind of pick specific ones. This is issue 4. I think I have issue 1, 2 and 3. So I just thought, well, 4, we've got Sauron, we've got Khazar, we've got Angel in there, Storm, and obviously when you turn them round, usually it's a separate a separate cover kind of deal, but this is a wraparound cover, and you've got kind of like the villainous sides on the back there. So this is the kind of, when I see Marvel fanfares, I look through them and look for particular characters. Obviously, Doctor Strange, prominent on there in issue 8, along with issue 21. But there's a Thing and a Hulk on the back there. If we look on the back cover, we've got Hulk and the Thing going at it. And then a great Dave Gibbons cover there for issue 41. Again, I think this is quite apt at the moment, given the whole Damnation storyline that's going on in present day Marvel Doctor Strange, because we've got Mephisto up there, obviously Doctor Strange there. So that's it was kind of a nice touch. Some reason there's a kind of panel storyline going on the very back page, but interested for that. So yes, there's that. This is the Incredible Hulk. They did these kind of flashback one-shots. They called them -1, and they kind of did origins, but also, you know, just did these kind of flashback stories that have been fun. The ones that I have had on kind of like, there's an X-Man one I've got. I think there's an Excalibur one I've got, but yet not to read. But, you know, they're fun little kind of one-shot storylines. Interesting to see Stan the Man Lee being part of this. It'll be interesting to see how he makes his way into this storyline. And finally, for kind of like the odd issues, it's issue 1 or number 1 of the annuals for the Silver Surfer, the 3rd volume. And this is part of the Evolutionary War storyline that went through all the annuals at the time, back in 1988. So they're the first lot of just kind of oddments. The 2 runs of comics that I picked up and I'm obviously collecting. One of them is Daredevil, and I managed to get quite, well, I think about half a dozen of these to fill in gaps that I needed. So issue 267, John Romita Jr. doing the covers and the interiors on these. 287, Matt Murdock in the ring. Issue 288, Whatever Happened to Matt Murdock. Got a nice bullseye and Wilson Fisk cover there. 292, Daredevil teaming up, or maybe in battle, with the Punisher. Those two kind of intrinsically connected, both vigilantes, but going at it at very different sides of the vigilante spectrum, I'd say. Another team up, this time side by side with the Ghost Rider, with issue 295. A little bit of Typhoid Mary in the first part of Last Rites, issue 297. And issue 298, second part of that Last Rites storyline. We've got a special guest star of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Issue 321, the second part of the Fall from Grace Daredevil storyline. That's where all the Daredevils that I managed to pick up. Then, of course, that other series, or series that I've been picking up, Fantastic Four. This is the first issue, came out in 1998, the Heroes Return kind of event. This came after Marvel's Onslaught event, and a kind of, not a reimagining, but a kind of a restart for a lot of our superhero comics. As you see, the legend begins anew, and Alan Davis cover. He does some interior art. Lobdell doing the storyline here. So we've got issue 1, issue 2. Again, these are all filling in gaps in this particular run. Issue number 11, Chris Claremont and LaRocca on art. Issue 13. Issue 15. Got a bit of Iron Man in there as well by the looks of it. Issue number 16. And issue number 17. That's all for that particular run. Very happy to find issue number 12 of the Matt Fraction and Allred's penned title FF, which was the Fantastic Four, but completely different members here. We've got She-Hulk, we've got Ant-Man, we've got Medusa. I still can't remember her name. It's not going to come to me. And obviously all the kids that made up the Future Foundation. But that issue number 12 finishes that run for me. I can put that one to bed now. But great little series, quirky. Obviously it's the Allred, so we all know what their kind of 60s mod style always happens to be. But it was fun. And then finally, issue number 1 of the Jane Robinson Leonard Kirk run of Fantastic Four. This was the start of the fall of the Fantastic Four storyline. It's a little, not beat up, but there's some kind of like decolorization going on there, and just a little bit down there. But, you know, for £1, you don't say no. And that's that short comic book haul from my local comic book store, Close Encounters. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again very soon. Bye bye.